Hi, so today my Art World Confessions is a little bit personal and not necessarily art world related. I mean, the story comes out of the art world, but I've seen this story play out so many times in women's lives, inside and outside of the art world. And I really don't think I'm a feminist by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I'm all for women's rights and stuff like that. But more than being a feminist, I'm really into women empowering themselves and learning what they have to learn in order to survive in this world and not relying on anyone, whether it's their dad or their husband or their boyfriend or anyone to support them. I mean, yes, you can get support, but you have to, at the end of the day, know how this world works and how money works and what would happen to you in the event that this person who is providing for you is no longer there. So enjoy this episode. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Art World Confessions. I was looking at Facebook, which I don't often do, and somebody that I'm friends with and follow. I mean friends and follow because who knows who's on Facebook these days, right? But what was interesting was she posted a screenshot of the New York Times article about the dissolution of the Wildenstein fortune. And I'm not going to talk about that here today because, the article really did go in depth into a bunch of things related to art families and how they operate over generations. And that's just, the article covers it so well. If you really want to know how these things work, you can go read the article in the New York Times. But what was interesting for me as a female and in the art world is how these women, granted it was another generation, but there have been a couple things in common in these articles of women who are either divorced after 30 years or after 40 years of marriage, their husband passes away. And what they have in common, or maybe they were, who knows, but there are different iterations of this story that pop up every now and again in the art world and in the world of high finance. So after spending all this time with this man who, you may or may not have had kids with the man. In this case of the Wildensteins, when the patriarch passed away, his second wife, who had no children with him, apparently, according to this article, signed away her fortune to the children, to his children with his first wife. And the understanding is that she was basically left penniless and spent the rest of her life fighting in court to get back her inheritance. And this was pretty much the same case. Again, these women have no idea how the finances are structured in their family, in their husband's life. They have no idea how much money their husbands have or where that money is. They probably don't know how to make any money for themselves either because they married into it. And when this guy passed away, she was basically destitute. Can you imagine? From chefs, horses, houses, blah, 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 to nothing. I mean, this is a real disservice to herself, but also the family it's a real disservice to the woman. I mean, she gave 40 years of her life to your dad, and supposedly you guys were getting along for years, and she trusted you guys. I'm saying you guys as in general, but this is a real story that's panned out over the years. And it resonated with another story I read sometime last year of an American woman who, after 30 years of marriage, he got a Russian girlfriend and put the Russian girlfriend up in their house in what the equivalent is in London, I guess, of Billionaires Row here in Manhattan. I think they call it Billionaire Square or something like that. I mean, you probably know it. And 30 years of marriage, she proceeds to get divorced, and I think he's worth about, on paper, $12 million. So after 30 years of marriage and him having, arguably billions of dollars of assets, when you put him in court with lawyers, the trusts and the trusts and the trust and the trust, this whole complicated web of trust, he owns nothing. I think even in the article it mentioned that he had given her a diamond necklace, and that after the divorce, someone came to get the diamond necklace because it wasn't she that owned it. Her husband didn't even own it. A company owned the necklace that she had been given as a gift, some Christmas gift, birthday gift, whatever gift. So, I guess they used to call that an Indian giver. It's probably politically correct to say that. But in my time, it was perfectly fine to call it that. So again, after all these years, you have no idea how much money your husband's worth. Even if you have an idea, you don't know where that money is. You've left it in his hands all these years to manage, so you yourself don't know how to manage money. And you're left to rely on the good graces of your friends and family now that you're all aged and really can't do anything for yourself in terms of building a career or building an income or anything like that. I mean, it's a really, really sad state of affairs for these women. And it may not be that way these days, although I see it happening all the time in the art world. Women have spent all their lives being taken care of by their dads, having all the bills paid by their father, and then they leave their dad's house and they get married to another wealthy man, and they basically spend the rest of their lives having all the bills paid. They don't even know how or where or how much money it is or where it's coming from. And God forbid something happens to that guy or things go south in the relationship, because then what? They don't know heads or tails how to make anything of their own. Well, some of them probably get lucky and have a huge settlement. I think one of the wives in that family, the article was quoting her settlement was in the billions. But this was after, again, she had to go to court and basically stand up for herself to say, look, I've been in this marriage in good grace and it's worth something. He's worth something, even though he said he wasn't employed. He was an unpaid employee of the father's company. I mean, some of this stuff you really can't believe. Although I'm seeing it happen right now in terms of my friends as well. One who is in a divorce and the husband owns a company and he basically unemployed himself. So he's like, okay, what child support? I have no income. I mean, this is the stuff of, this is the true art world confessions where money is concerned. There is no love, or maybe there's love and it's conditioned on the fact that you don't ask me for money when we separate. It's a very, very strange world we inhabit. But I hope you enjoy this episode of Art World Confessions. Please like it if you did. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Also hit the bell notification button so you know when I upload another episode of Art World Confessions. Happy end of summer. Have a happy end of summer. And I'll see you again soon on another episode of Art World Confessions. Thanks for being here.